My name is Betty Kelps, and I live in Eclectic, Alabama. I am here to show you some pictures that were taken of my mother while she was in the hospital at the Craven Regional Medical Center in New Bern, North Carolina, from August the 28th to December the 23rd, 2007, and that's the date she died. I have photographs that I have taken, my sister has taken, and we tried to show the hospital staff, the director, the legal counsel, and everybody how our mother was being treated. We were told we were nuts, that our mother was getting the best of care. Well, I took it to the governor of the state of North Carolina, Governor Easley, and asked him to do an investigation when all our pleas went unnoticed at the Craven Regional Medical Center. From there, he did an investigation, and the only thing that they really did or even say in their investigation, even with all the photos and the proof they had, they only found that my mother was not given the medication she was prescribed for bed sores. Well, she went in with a bladder infection, and when she got in, they found out she had some blockages, and she had to have an aorta valve. Well, my mother was in good sound mind. She agreed to the surgery. I immediately went to North Carolina, my family and I, to see her and to be with her and the rest of the family. I stayed, and I come back home to Alabama. And while I was at home, my family kept calling me and telling me, Betty, they're not treating Mama right. Well, I couldn't comprehend what they were talking about, really. So I went back to North Carolina on my own, and I asked my nephew and my sister what was the problem. Well, no one would tell me. They said if we say anything, they'll make our mother leave the hospital. Well, she stayed in ICU. Then they moved her up to the 3rd floor after I think about 2 weeks. Once she got on that 3rd floor, I would like to show you photographs of the treatment that my mother received. Now, some of these photographs are pretty hard to take. Excuse me. But it will show you what goes on in hospitals and how people and patients are not properly taken care of. And 90% of the people who has a family member in a hospital, especially Craven Regional Medical in New Bern, North Carolina, they better not say anything to the staff or anybody else, because if they do, they know it will cause trouble. I heard that over and over and over again by many family members when I go out to the smoking area and talk with some of the people that I met, grew up with, and they tell me about the bad care that people were getting, patients were getting at that hospital. I even had one lady to tell me that her daughter went in for pneumonia, and she come out with no leg. And she has photographs to prove that. Not only that, there was a couple more people that we knew that went into hospital while my mother was there, that all of a sudden they died because they were old. That's what the doctor said. They were old. I said, well, when did old age become a sickness? If there's a pill for it, give one to me. And I flat put that before the doctors. Why is everything that's wrong with an elderly person is due to old age? That is what they blame it on, old age, and that's what they did to my mother. Plus, they got angry at my sister and I because I was so outspoken about the way my mother was being treated. My sister told me she had taken photographs. I said, well, let's go get them developed. Well, when I went and got them developed and saw them, I went immediately back to that hospital, threw the covers off of my mother, and there I almost threw up from what I saw. I could not believe it. I wondered why they kept her so wrapped up so tightly in the CVICU and on the 3rd floor. And I even had nurses to tell us that they wanted my mother to walk, and my mother wasn't even hardly conscious, and they wanted her to get up and walk. Well, she got so bad on the 3rd floor, they had to send her back to the CVICU on the 1st floor. There, she kept having infections, and they couldn't find out where the infections were coming from. They put her on dialysis machines to try to get the infections out of her system. Well, after my mother passed away, I got her medical records, which they charged me $1,994 for at the hospital. I started reading them, and I come across something called heparin. I'd never heard of it before. So I looked it up on the computer, and there I said, bingo. That's why my mother kept getting infections. I firmly believed that she was given contaminated heparin, and there I took on a long search to find out what was going on. I wrote to the governor, I wrote to Congressman Jones, Walter B. Jones, Jr. I wrote to the Attorney General of North Carolina. I tried to get the newspaper there in the local area called the Sun-Journal to take my story about what was happening to my mother, and they were afraid to do it. I tried other media. I have tried lawyers for over a year, and every lawyer in North Carolina, the very same thing they say is, there's proof of the neglect, but we're sorry we can't take your case. And as I ask why, they won't tell us why, but yet they will state that there is evidence of neglect. Well, proving that Mama got contaminated heparin, I called the hospital and asked them if they'd give me the lot numbers so I could compare them with the lot numbers from Baxter Products and from Barn Products, and also from AM2 in Raleigh, North Carolina, the business that was distributing the heparin to the hospitals. Found out from the FDA they were closed down and under investigation. I will stop and restart doing redoing this on another section. It'll be section 2. Thank you.